Leah, Zane, if you guys would put your numbers on, please. Come here, Bubba. Are you guys there? Let's get started.
Fun fact, I figured out why I couldn't join with the browser client yesterday.
Yeah, do tell. Come here.
So I had my number in the username field, or like I added my number before joining, and I guess that kind of broke their website.
Maybe that's what somebody else was talking about.
So
Somebody said, I think it was Lee Meow who said that. Come here, Papa.
Hello. I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question again?
No question.
Okay, sorry.
Here's my sweet girl. This is Lorelai.
Hi.
Oh, it's very cute. Hi.
Oh, thank you. She's going to be teaching today, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to teach her with the computer. All right, baby. All right. So, did you guys stay up all night? Oh, hey, Kat.
I spent the whole day just getting TensorBoard to work on PyCharm, which was annoying.
I don't understand why you had to get it to work on PyCharm.
all right, I'll put you down.
Oh my God, Ethan, your cat's gonna attack you.
Nah, like it sounds wrong, but like she kind of always sounds like that. Like she always has an attitude whenever she meows, even if she's just kind of like vibing.
Yeah, that's like cats can be that way. I had a cat that pretty much if you pet it, it would just attack you. But for some reason, we still loved it. Hey, everybody. Hey, Chu, can you put your number on? So
Thank you.
Michael's taking care of some personal stuff. And then who else are we missing? 1, 2, 3. Who's number 4?
I guess since we're talking about assignment one, I found the hardest part was restricting the data size because, or like if you wanted to maintain like an even distribution,
Yeah.
that was surprisingly difficult to implement, mainly because I'm not too familiar with Python, but I got it. It was just,
If I had to do it off the top of my head, probably what I would do is I would zip the two together.
mhm,
I would sort based on the cell. Okay, so once you zip them,
mhm.
then they're tuples, right? Okay. Then I would sort that array of tuples based on the second element of each tuple. Does that make sense? So you would have all 0 labels, then all 1 labels, then all 2 labels.
Mhm.
And then I would have just taken whatever I wanted from there.
Problem is that the data come as NumPy arrays, so zip doesn't work on them. And I tried using NumPy's like functions that are like analogous to zip, and those didn't really produce the results I wanted either. So
You could just put it into make it to a list and then come back to a number, right?
Yeah.
How important is it that the classes are perfectly balanced? Because what I did was I permuted the indices and then I selected the first like n number of those, and I figured that like
That's fine.
on average it would be like pretty balanced.
I mean, the whole here, keep this in mind. The point of that the exercise, that portion of the exercise really has nothing to do with deep learning, right? It has to do with Python. So, you know, Chu, if you feel comfortable enough with Python already, as you've said, then, you know, you are fine. I don't care. You know what I mean? I mean, and what you're saying is probably true. And that's actually not a bad idea. As long as you permuted them equivalently. Like, for example, you permuted the label array, right?
No, I just took the length of the array and permuted the numbers within that range. And then for the first n number, I drew those indices out of each array together, if that makes sense.
Whatever, I don't, it doesn't make sense, and I don't know if I really care a whole lot, but what I do care about is that you said these magic words. I use the indices to pull the elements from each array, and that's what matters. As long as you got them from the same locations in each place, then that's fine. So Sanjay is not here. Maybe I should call him real quick. Your call has been forwarded to an automated. All right, I need everybody to just DM Sanjay on Slack, everybody at the same time, okay? And just say wakey wakey eggs and bakey or something like that, okay? Wakey wakey. That's what I'm gonna say, wakey wakey.
It's actually like one of the few people that isn't in my DM list, which is interesting.
Slack's weird like that. Sometimes people will be there. I'll chat with them. I've had chats with them, and then I go and then they're not there anymore. They get booted. It's like there's a certain number of people who can. I mean, here I Googled them. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, you know, this grass background that I have today, it's very calming to me. What do you guys think?
I like it.
Yeah.
Very relaxing.
It's very relaxing, isn't it? I just feel more relaxed today. You know, and I was thinking this morning, like, if I had to do one thing for the rest of my life, honestly, doing this, RU, is like one of my favorite things in the world. You get a small group of people. Teaching is usually, in my opinion, I love teaching. I do not like teaching large groups of people because you lose the intimacy of that like small group setting, right? Like here, I get to know each one of you personally, and we get to like actually solve problems. In a large group, I just get to tell you the instructions, and I never really know if you solve them or not. Here, it's like we can kind of no man left behind, you know? I really like that. Anywho, so who's in the roughest shape? Let's start there. Leah, was that you? Was that like a quick? This is all I saw. It was
My
really
hand kind of got hidden by the
okay.
green screen for a
Minecraft is
second.
gone.
I don't know. I was struggling.
Who's covering you up? Is that a villager?
Yeah. I don't know. I found this little video background yesterday. I was like, this is nice. I want to add this.
Well, why don't you share your screen with us, and we'll yeah.
Well, hopefully it doesn't crash this time.
Let me make a couple suggestions. If, in my experience, if to minimize the strain on my machine when I share and use Python, I usually turn my video off and close my browser, or at least minimize your browser.
Okay.
To try to minimize everything except what we're going to do, feel free to turn your video off and then share your screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right. Well, if it dies, I will be back. I don't know why Zoom hates me. Okay, screen one. Okay, it seems like it worked. Can you see
All right, so
things?
let me start here. Did you copy and paste the code that I sent you guys yesterday?
I got code from like a bunch of different places, I feel like.
Okay, that's fine.
Like I got some from the PowerPoint, I got some from the resources that Ethan sent, some from some other resources people sent.
Let me say this. In my mind, this is how this project process should have gone. You copy the code that you guys saw yesterday verbatim. Did anybody copy that exactly and see if it runs? Remember, I can't see you, so. Did anybody copy that code yesterday exactly and check if it runs?
For assignment 0 or assignment 1?
1. You remember the code with the Chinese comments?
No,
I tried copying that one at first, but then part of it didn't work. So I just found other stuff.
Okay. All right, anyways, okay. Onward and upward.
I think every like the actual like machine learning part of it was fine. I think I just struggled with the numbers part, the Python part.
Okay.
So I just commented it all out because it wasn't working, and it was like 4 a.m. So I went to bed.
So does this run right here?
This stuff runs. Yeah, I have a couple like graphs of it and stuff like that.
And this is just a straightforward. Can we run it? I would like to see it.
Sure. It'll probably take forever. Oh. Yeah, it always does that. I don't really know what that means, but
I feel okay about this. What's your batch size?
I don't know.
Me neither. Epochs.
I don't know if I have one actually.
It says
How-
10. Line 53, it says 10.
What was that?
Line 53, it says epochs equals 10.
Yeah, I'm looking for batch size though.
it's probably
it-
using the default because it's not specified.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's, first of all, let's clean that up. So the reason I ask is because look, it just looks like it's running a single batch. Does it look like that to everyone else? Or maybe that's just the Epoch 2 of 10. Yeah, it looks like it's running all on a single batch, but that may not be true, but let's sort that out first. Okay, so you can stop that.
How does one stop?
The red button in the top right corner. So, let's have a look here. All right, so in model.fit, where is that? Model.fit, right? After Y train, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to press return. And then I want you to write batch underscore size equals. And then write the same word again, batch underscore size. Okay, then we're going to go to copy that word, batch size. Yep. Go to the top of your code where all your parameters should be. They're not. After import matplotlib, right? I want you to return a bunch of times and just give us nice little free area there. Okay, go back up. Yeah, so now I want you to just go return one more time. There you go. Batch size, and just so paste equals 32. No spacing. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but yeah. I'm sorry, you can do space. Yeah.
I like the
thinking of arguments.
spaces.
Put the spaces. Sorry, I was thinking about arguments. Okay, now let's try running this again. I want to see what happens. So right click. Yeah, there you go.
I think that's the same number as last time.
It is. I don't know why it's not. Let me see if it updates the, yeah, okay. It's updating. So that's why we're not seeing the batches. First of all, that's important. So now we've got our batch size. All right, now other parameters that you should have up there.
Are you running on a GPU?
I don't think so.
I would say definitely not.
I don't think it supports it on Mac in general. I was looking that up last night. I couldn't find it.
I find if my TensorFlow is using a GPU or a CPU.
Is it going this slow?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't go that slow, no.
Well, then you're probably using your GPU.
No.
Tensor
There's like
needs
code.
It doesn't really matter either way because soon you're all going to have 64 gig GPUs.
yeah. Tensor needs NVIDIA drivers, and all Macs use AMD.
That's correct. So, all right, now let's continue here. So we have X train, Y train, that's all fine. So just to keep things clean, actually we'll come back. Let's just keep it nice down and dirty right now. So then this looks fine for now, X train, scroll down a little bit more.
You can see this.
A little less.
Oh, you wanna? I don't know what I was trying to do.
Yeah, that looks, I mean, you're on the right track. First of all, so then what I want you to do, what's the other main that I see in your files up there?
Oh, that's my assignment 0. I
Close
just
that
had it
for me.
open.
Yeah, close that for me. On the left-hand bar, there says project, click that. Yep.
I think it's just collapsed.
Okay, on assignment 1, whatever it says up there, right click on that. New Python file. Utils, capital U. Utils. There we go. Go back to main. Copy all of that, print counting dictionary up to counting dictionary, or cut it out of there and put it in utils for me, please. All right, now let's go back to main. Okay, so your code works. All right.
Mhm.
That's good. All right, scroll down a little bit more and let me just make sure there's no glaring errors. Model.summary, that looks good. TensorBoard, were you able to get the TensorBoard stuff working?
Yeah.
That's all good. Sparse categorical cross entropy. Go back up for me, please. And then directly after the data set lines, where print or keep going.
Oh, wait, keep going up.
Yep, yeah, up to the data section. Okay, right after you import the data set, or not the import, but after you instantiate the data set, this is what I want you to do. Yeah, that empty line right after that.
This one.
Yeah, go to that next line. Okay, and write this y underscore train equals. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Do this. Print y underscore train square brackets 0 to 100. 0 colon. Yeah. And then right after that line, do exit.
And then run it.
Please. Are you on a Mac?
No.
No, that was test. Whatever's running now, you definitely want to stop that. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on, stop.
Oh.
Your accuracy was very low.
The accuracies that I was getting last night, I got one up to like 80% or something.
Okay, all right. That should be okay.
Let me do my Discord real quick. Oops.
So Ethan, I'm going to ask that you vouch for this whole sparse categorical business. All right. You're
Okay.
sure? You're sure, right?
It's the same stuff I used.
And it worked?
It does. It works for me.
Okay. All right. Then I'm not going to spend any more time on it. So go ahead and scroll down to the body of your code for me. Actually, comment out those 2 lines that we just added.
Do you know, is there like a shortcut to commenting?
Try just control /.
Oh, okay.
Bing, bada, boom.
It's a
I
beautiful.
assumed it would be something with the pound sign because it comments in pounds, but
And I'll
I
tell
guess-
you, you get used to these like wonderful shortcuts in PyCharm. Like now anywhere I go, any other editor or anything I use, I like try to use them and they don't work and I'm like, fail. All right, so let's scroll down back to the sparse business. Down, down, down. All right, model, line 45, model.compile. Optimizers, Atom, fine. Loss, sparse categorical. Hover over sparse categorical for me. From parameters. Okay, that's fine. I guess that's fine. Ethan vouched for it. All right, metrics equals accuracy, model.fit, X-train, Y-train, epochs, validation data, X-test, Y-test, callbacks, TensorBoard. I need internet and my iPad. Where's your iPad at? You can play your iPad. Wants to play Minecraft. Plot, Shamalama. Okay, that's fine. All right, now let's go do some utility stuff. Okay. All right. So can you uncomment this? Yeah. Okay. Now, one cool thing is if you wanted to try this, I want you to select everything except for the edit. Or the exit, yeah, thank you. Right click. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. There's a way to turn everything into a function. Go to refactor, hover over that, and then method, extract method. There you go. Yep. Method name, you can call it data set size, but all lowercase because it's a function.
And that?
Yeah, do lowercase, it's a function.
Oh,
There we go. Okay, try that. Everybody see what we did? Just a cool little trick inside of Python that I like. Sometimes it's helpful. Basically just took that whole thing that she had, because usually like when you do it, you're doing like some testing or whatever, you're not going to put it in a function right out of the gate. You're going to test with it and see, and then you're going to throw it into a function. And I usually like this little trick. Okay. So, all right. So counting dictionary, that looks fine. For fun and for free, there are quicker ways to make dictionaries, but we'll come back to that later. For X and X train. So as a parameter and data set size, as an argument and data set size, go to the function up at the top, go into the parentheses. Now, so what you have to put in here are the arguments that your function will accept, right? Well, look at what's red squiggly in your function right now, X train and Y train.
X and Y train.
Yes, put X train, comma, Y train there. Okay. All right, so now those are going to be accepted by our function. So, let me see here.
Yeah, the part that wasn't working was this. I was trying to like, I don't know, I was trying to find each like, oh my gosh, my brain. I was trying to, so pretty much go through like a bunch of values. Just, I was going to try until I got like 100 of
Yeah, that's fine.
each. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did something really similar to that if you need help. I like didn't make it a function, but I just had a block of code and it seemed like it worked. Now it's also doing the dictionary stuff.
You want to weigh in here?
I mean, yeah, mine was kind of similar. Like, let's see. Instead of doing for X in X train, I set it like for I in range of 50,000 because that was going through like all of the images in the data set.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I had similar stuff there. And then I made 2 new arrays for a new Y and a new X. And I set those values equal to what was in X train and Y train at I. Like, it might be hard to explain, but I could share my screen if you want.
Let me see if we can clean this one up first.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there, okay? Hey, can you make your code larger though? Can you Control plus in that text window, and does it work that way? Because I know in Mac you can just use the trackpad and you can expand that area, but it's really small on my side. Let me try putting
I do not know how.
Okay, that's fine. Let me try something here.
Control mouse wheel will also work.
Okay, yeah, try that
That's-
Control mouse wheel.
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
Okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
All right. So let's do this. So I'm going to try to stay with what you have going. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say for X and X train, so first of all, what we're really interested in is not the elements from X train, it's the elements from Y train. Okay, that's what's going to be counting here. So let's do for Y and Y train. Okay. Now, so what's going to happen is, if counting dictionary is less than 100,
Oh, I had this as.
so let's see. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have, we're in Y train, right? And we're going to select the first value. Okay. So you want to go ahead and right after this, the colon for Y and Y train, just give me a bunch of returns so I can get a little clear area to think there. Okay. Yeah. So let's do, if counting dictionary evaluated at that key, evaluated at Y. So in order to make sure Y is, now I noticed, remember, if you look down at your output run down there at the very bottom of your screen, see how it says process X code was 0 or whatever down there? Scroll up just a little bit for me. Yeah, okay, you see how those elements are coming out? They're like each their own little array, okay? So in other words, what we want to do is we want to make sure that those are not elements in an array. We want to actually take the element itself, okay?
Okay.
So there's one element in, so that Y value that you have there, see how it says counting dictionary Y, what is that? That currently is like a mini list. It has,
Okay.
so instead of doing Y there, let's do Y square brackets inside the parentheses,
What, like in here?
Yeah. 0. Okay. Is that,
Okay.
who's unclear about that? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
So that's the syntax of it.
Now you've actually got the element itself, okay? And
Yeah.
just for safekeeping, what I would like you to do is I would like you to put in front of the Y, inside the parentheses, in front of the Y, INT, open parenthesis, and then and then close parenthesis. We want to make sure that's an
No, I was right. Was
okay. So now we have a key of our dictionary. In other words, that value is going to be 0 through 9. Is everybody okay with that? By the way, I can't see you all, so if you can just, tell me, that'd be best. All right. So if counting dictionary evaluated at whatever is less than or equal to And how many elements do we want in each one here?
Do you want to start
Let's
with?
let's put an additional argument in our function, right? So in your define data set, X train, Y train, and then do data per class.
That?
Yeah. Or you can do image per class. How about that? Yeah, okay. And then, so now, yeah, then put image per class there. If counting dictionary, in other words, if the value of the dictionary associated with that key or that class is less than the number of images you want in each class, what do we want to do?
I mean, what I was doing was I was adding one to it to like.
Okay, so let's do that first. Let's do that first, counting dictionary. And you can actually copy that value. Okay, so one thing for the sake of cleanliness, all right, see where it says if, and then you have counting, that whole counting dictionary business.
Yeah.
Copy that for me.
This part.
Yep, copy it. And then immediately after your for statement, right where your for loop goes, boom, hit return. And then let's say, let's call this some variable name, right? Current. And now I'm going to give you some ugly variable names, okay? But I wanted them to be very descriptive so you don't lose track of them. Current image per class.
Sorry, what was that?
Current and then image per class. Equals.
Paste it.
Paste, yeah. Okay, now you can copy current image per class and replace that other thing.
Oops.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna write what we just defined there, that variable, we're gonna write it more than once. And since it's kind of ugly with all the brackets, parentheses, etc., I think we should define it as a variable and carry it with us, okay?
Makes sense.
Okay, now in the next line, what do we want to do here? Yep, get rid of that, right? We don't need that anymore. What are we going to do here? You were on the right track. We've just redefined the variable name.
Oh, wait. So do we put that in the brackets?
Just put current image per class, right?
In the brackets?
No. That is, get rid of everything in that line and just replace it with the current class. There you go. And then do plus equals 1 with spaces. Plus equals 1.
Does plus work in Python?
I regret to inform you it does not.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Sad.
Okay, so now we've added 1. Okay. Right, you with me? Okay. And let's do one more thing. Go up there for Y in Y train. Okay. Right before Y, I want you to write IDX, comma, space. And then right in front of Y train, I want you to write enumerate, open parentheses, and then right before the colon, close parentheses. Okay. Can somebody tell me, remind me what that's going to do?
For each Y is going to put an index. It's going to enumerate it with an index.
So here's the idea. We have Y train. Okay. These are all of our labels. We're going to take the first one out. We're going to take the second one out. We're going to take the third one out. Each stage of the way, there's an index associated with the element. When I said the first, right, that has index 0. The second, index 1, etc.
For F string, right?
So now that we have that index, we don't need to do anything to get it later on. We have it with us. Okay. Okay. So up there where you have counting dictionary, go ahead and return after that line. And give me new underscore X underscore train and new underscore. Yep. And each one of those can be an empty list. That's fine.
Do I have to do anything to it?
Just space equals space empty list.
Like that?
That's a dictionary.
Oh, with the way. What was the was
Square
there-
bracket. Square bracket. There we go. Okay. So what you want to do now is if current image per class is less than image per class, okay, then we want to add one to our counting dictionary, okay? So in other words, if the number of images per class right now is less than, let's just pick a hard-coded number for ourselves, okay? For image per class, what would you like it to be? 100. How about 100? Okay.
Okay.
Or 10. 10's easier to manage. Okay. So let's say image per class is 10. So currently, let's say we have none. So current image per class, so we have 0. If 0 is less than or equal to the number of images per class that we want,
Mhm.
then we're going to add one to the counting dictionary. Then what do we need to do with the corresponding X train and Y train values?
Do we store it in the new?
That's
X
exactly
something?
right. That's exactly right. So you're going to do new X train dot append. And what are we going to append?
Do we the stuff? Oh my goodness, stuff
The-
in X train like
The
X train,
corresponding value in X train, right? Well, what is the corresponding value? How do we pull that out?
How do we do like
So
that?
that's-
And then we
Yep. What goes there?
do you have to do something? I can't remember what like.
Somebody else jump in. What goes there?
Is it I?
Index.
Index.
Oh, there you see.
The IDX,
There you go.
and then the same for Y train.
Brilliant.
I can now say I finally understand enumerate.
That's good. That's good. That's exactly why I'd like to do this. Every year when we do this, people, because like I like doing this because you get to see how other people code. And every year I learn something new from you guys because people all have their own little, styles. And every year I learn something new. So, so now we've put those in there. So we've done an if statement. So let's double check. So for Y, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If current image per class is less than the images per class, then we're going to add one to our counting dictionary. We're going to append those values to our new X train and Y train. Okay.
Mhm.
What else do we need to do here? Do we need to do anything else?
Is there a way to like check if all of them are done so we don't continue going through the entire?
That's exactly what I was thinking. So, you could do, so what we could do here, you could sum the values of your dictionary, not the keys, the values, right? You could sum those. And now don't do this. I'm just talking out loud. You could sum them. And if it is less, if it's greater than 10 times images per class, then we should stop, right? But the question
Okay.
is that is iterating over the whole show going to take less time than
Yeah.
summing or whatever, So at this point, this is a good lesson. Okay, we have something down and dirty, right? Let's just do that. Okay, Let's leave it here. So get rid of that stuff you have down there, and then go back up right there. Nope. Return, and then go backwards. Yep, return one more time. And then actually write the word return, new X train, comma, new Y train. Okay, now, what's the other thing that we should probably do here? Does anybody else want to weigh in?
From list to numpy.
That's right. We want to make sure that the type is the same as how it came in. Okay.
Okay.
So
I think that might be problematic because those are generic Python lists on lines 3 and 4, and the data come in as NumPy arrays.
yeah, that's why we have to actually make it what we want. So we know it's going to come in as so here, this is what I want. I want you to send that return statement down a couple lines. There you go. Go up. Yep. Go up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And I want you to say new X train is equal to NP. We're going to need, so import NumPy here at the top. Import NumPy as NP. Okay. New X train is equal to NP dot array. Yep. And then do new X train. Now, before you type any more, just stop right there real quick. Look what it says. It says P object. So we're going to put in what we want. Okay. And then it says,
Iterable and float.
the data type shouldn't have changed. Okay, so I think we're safe there. So let's just leave it like this. Do the same thing with the new Y train. Okay. And then move your return statement up one. All right, now let's try this. So go back to your main. At the very, go to the very top. Yeah. And you're going to say from utils up at the top. Yeah, there you go.
Just like there.
Usually you want to separate this one. Like it's, yeah. So from utils, capital U. Go. Import data set size. There you go. Okay. You can get rid of some of those, get rid of one of those lines and get rid of like two of those lines. Yeah. Okay. Now, right here, we should be able to, yeah, so you can get rid of those two statements. Okay. Enter. Okay. And say X train, Y train is equal to data set size
Of
there you go, comma. And then we're going to put a number there, but let's go up here and so see where you have batch size?
Yep.
Return twice. And then arrow up once. Image per size, or whatever we called it, image per class. Equals, let's do 100 right now, okay? Okay. And so you can just put an image per class, yeah. Now, this should be good. Let's give it a shot and see. First thing we're going to do is just run it and see what happens, okay? So something's working, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good sign, right? Now the only other, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, just my computer fans just started going.
That's okay. So go ahead and stop this. Okay. Now what I want you to do is we need to make sure that, so right after you load the real data set,
Mhm.
I want you to print, let's do type, open parentheses, xtrain. And then right after that, I want you to do in the next line, I want you to do print xtrain dot shape. And then in the next line, I want you to do print xtrain dot d type.
Xtrain dot what?
D type.
D-
Yeah. Okay. Copy those 3 lines and then put them right after where you edit the data set. Okay. And then put exit. Do you understand what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make
Yeah.
sure everything is, so the only thing that should change between those 2 is the shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's try that. I'm nervous. Okay. So NumPy ND array. Good. Right?
Shouldn't this be, should it be different?
It should be different.
Yeah, we need to go back to utils.
Yeah, so let's go take a look at our function. So here, if current image per class,
I've got a feeling the error is actually in main. And it was covered up by the console.
okay, you guys take over for her just for a second. Can you guys help her out for a second? I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's everything in the console.
but like yeah, it was covered up by it. So go back to main. And then like scroll down a little bit. So like we're loading. Let's see. So where are we actually making the changes to the data set size?
Right here.
Okay. Okay. So I guess for some reason I thought we were like importing it twice or something, which is obviously not what we're doing.
Okay, in the utils, that counting dig, the one with the int and the y.
Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, I feel bad about that. I don't feel too good about that. The one on line 8.
This here.
Yeah, maybe it's that one because the logic for the rest seems correct.
Hmm. We're
Can-
doing.
Can we maybe like print one of those, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe try adding a print in this function to print out like the new X train and new Y train and see if that changed. Because I feel like maybe it's in the function.
Yeah. Do we want to print it outside the for loop?
Yeah.
Probably. Or
Probably.
oh, come on.
New X train is going to be massive image arrays. So I don't know if you necessarily want to print that out.
Mm,
Yeah, it's gonna be big. We're not gonna be able to see anything. Maybe print like a portion, like for.
Yeah, or just the
oh
shape.
no, the shape,
even.
the shape. Yeah, the shape.
Do you want to do just Y train or shape of that too?
Sure.
Mm,
But wait, this is
okay, so
this
we're
is,
exiting there still. What was that?
it's still a list, right? Okay. Shape works on list, right, guys?
Oh wait, we want to print it after we.
Okay.
I guess we probably could have done this in the whatever.
No, no, run main.
Oh wait. let me see.
Yeah. 50,000 by 1 and 50,000 by 32 bytes.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay, so we iterate through all of Y train.
Wait, did you update the dictionary?
I don't think that was.
Um,
updated.
Oh, well,
Yeah, the
Like, I don't know if you updated, it might just be staying as 0.
yeah, I
yeah,
think it is.
shit. They only updated current image per class. They had it as counting dict in Y0. It changed current image per class to counting dict in Y of 0. And it
Change.
will-
Sorry.
okay, line 10.
Mm-hmm.
I replace the current image per class with counting dict in Y0.
Okay.
No, in Y0, the right side of line 8.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
By the way, good catch, Tess. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now you just press run again.
run main. There we go.
Yay.
Now, the only other thing we have to take care of is the +1s that are happening. So if you go into
Mhm.
utils, right? If you look at remove less than or equal, try just less than and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You actually don't have to go back to main, by the way. You can stay in utils and press the right top run button. Yeah, there you go.
Ah.
That looks like the right size because now we have just
Yeah.
10 per
100
class.
of each.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Nice, this looks nice.
So now, let's try to run the whole thing. Okay. So usually, yeah, you can
That
just
is good.
you can delete all that. Now, this is just my personal preference. Usually I make a separate file called scraps.
Ah, that makes sense.
And like, you know how you just cut and paste, like, or you just cut all that stuff away?
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'll take it and I'll throw it in scraps because I've learned the
makes
hard
sense.
way. Like at some point you probably will need that again, you know? and it's annoying having to.
Yeah.
So now take away the space between those two lines. Yeah, since you're kind of doing the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So that can all stay together, and then let's just run your code. I feel a little strange about that.
It's because you reduced the data set size by a lot.
Yeah, I got similar results. Completely decimated my accuracy.
It's funny, right? But it's, oh, it went down that time.
Yo, 20%. Let's go.
All right, now let's try image per class. Do add 2 zeros. I mean, I'm sorry, add 1 0.
Robert?
Hey, buddy.
Okay. Let's say I had like a list of all of the image per classes that you wanted, like a list, like the first element is 100, second element is 1,000, third element is 25,000, and fourth element is 50,000.
Sure.
I go in a for loop in that list for I in this list, and then I just put all of the code that she has in like that for loop,
That's fine. You can do that.
and then X and then I just go through all of the image per classes instead of having like 4 blocks of code.
That's fine. Yep, that's fine. But it looks like, I mean, it's cool. Like your accuracy is already better here, you know?
Yeah.
So that's literally the whole point of the experiment. Okay. Now I do want to show you one thing. You can stop this experiment, or you can let it run. It's up to you, whatever, but we don't need it anymore. Sometimes I have to press stop twice, by the way.
Oh, I didn't actually click it yet.
So let's go back to utils. Move your return statement up 1. There you go. Down below your return statement, let's just start a little scrap heap there. Yeah, okay. And just do new underscore DICT, dictionary, okay, is equal to open curly brackets. Now, remember how we talked about list comprehensions? You can do those for dictionaries as well.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to type in, there's no significance to the word here, so maybe we shouldn't even use that. But let's just do key, write the word key, :0, for key in range 10.
Like,
Yep.
By the way, where's Michael Brown?
He's taking care of some personal stuff today.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now what I want you to do is in the next line, I want you to print new dictionary. Yep. Now run this code, right click in the body of this code and run it.
I had no idea you could do that.
wow. Okay,
Right.
so I can just
Yeah, I mean, like,
replace, or
you can if you want. Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
I think it's a lot prettier than.
It's a lot prettier. Yeah, I mean, I didn't tell you because there's certain things I want to focus on and there's certain things I don't. So I want you guys to. But
Yeah, no,
anyway,
that's
now you
nice.
know. Now you know.
It's just so weird to be able to do all this stuff coming from C, because this is just like black magic.
You can't do grab and see.
Exactly.
It's so nice, isn't it?
Even going from C to Java, I was like, wow, there's a lot more stuff I can do in Java. And now it's like, it's like, what the heck?
I'm just glad I don't have to allocate memory anymore. I'm so sick of that.
Oh
All
my
right,
God.
so I think you're good to go. So now, have you gotten TensorBoard working?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff on there.
That's fine, but you got the idea of how it works.
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't, or I guess I have it's on the page. There was like, I guess it'll add our new stuff now.
Yeah, if I were you, what I would do is go in and delete all those log files that are currently there, and then just start.
I could not. It told me I needed like admin permissions, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it did the same thing to me.
And so you want to go ahead?
Oh no, go Ethan.
Okay, I've actually run into this issue before. You have to kill TensorBoard as well, like in your console. And
Yeah,
if
the
that
same
doesn't
thing
work,
happened
then
to me.
if you're running it like a notebook or something, you have to kill that too. But
Okay,
then it will let you delete it.
I will do that.
Yeah, for me, I like had to go to the events to the notepads and delete those, then go back and then go back and delete those.
Yeah, I had to delete it like layer by layer for it to work.
Yeah, me too.
Can you tell I was struggling yesterday with the sheer amount of tabs that I have open right now?
That's half the fun.
That's not fun. It makes me sad. I have so many tabs open. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm going to stop.
I mean, at least you have a logs file. Mine wouldn't let me open a logs file inside my assignment directory.
Oof.
It opened it in my users directory, and it wouldn't let me otherwise. That's why I struggled the whole day.
Also, wait, were we supposed to be trying to get like an actually good accuracy rate? Because I saw you guys talking about 90% accuracy in the chat, and that really threw me for a loop.
No, that's only for assignment 0, I think. Because I couldn't get better than like 72 or 73 on assignment.
Yeah, when you
Yeah,
when you were
sorry,
like
I peaked around
got
70 something.
100%.
Okay. Do you feel better, Leah?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Really, it was a long night, man.
So now you know. Hold on. You're fine. Go outside and go potty, boy. No. Good boy. Go potty. All right. Who's next? Lee?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Chu.
Oh, okay. I've been having a lot of problems with mine, so
Yeah, let's see it.
yeah. Okay. So I actually made several different notebooks. This one was where I put down my results.
Okay.
I didn't really see much with the layers. I mean, it didn't really seem like much of a pattern, but then with the training set size, it was a pretty nice graph.
Yeah, very nice. It's like the most characteristic graph that you could hope for.
Yeah, the thing is, I had to like manually run each of the settings and like record it down so that I could graph it because for some reason after I already like make a model and run it, if I try to make another one in the same run, it gets a really bad performance for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
So-
I don't really understand why.
So, it's, for example, you know how Zane said he is, so he said he's, for the data set sizes, for example, okay? He just creates, so like, for example, if you go up just a little bit
Oh, okay.
and you have that list of little, yeah, sample sizes, right?
Yes.
That's the only thing that should be, well, not the only thing, but for the most part, other than maybe some of your hyperparameters, that should be defined globally. And then like in the case of Zane, so basically, if I'm interpreting what you said correctly, Zane, basically sample sizes is a list that is defined globally. And then you're going to run a for loop where everything else is defined locally inside of that loop. So every time, so you, for example, inside of that for loop, I would say for sample size in sample sizes. Okay. You with me?
Yes.
Okay. Then you would go through the first time and you would do it with sample size equals 100. Inside of that for loop, your model should be instantiated. So the next time you come back through that for loop, your model should be re-instantiated.
Well, yes, I did do that. It's just that on every run after the first one, it did really poorly. And then I tried manually running each one independently and it worked fine. So
Yeah, so there's two things I'm thinking. Okay, so here's how it works. Like, for example, and the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is because if you instantiate your model globally, then on the second pass, when you go to sample size equals 1000, your model still has all of the weights that it had from the first run. Does that make sense to everyone?
well, I think I did instantiate the model inside of the loop though.
Well, and so the second thing I'm thinking is because you're doing it inside of a notebook, there may be something stored, like the model weights are stored here somehow. So let's,
Oh, okay.
do you see what I'm
Do
saying?
you want to look at the actual code for those things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I
Um,
can confirm. You do want to like tell the notebook to restart each time you run the model just so you're starting with like a clean slate.
Okay, batch size, channels, loss function. Classes, that all looks fine. Load and prepare data, NumPy random seed sample sizes, X-train, X-tab, blah, 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 input size, channels, X-train equals, indices equals NumPy, blah, blah, blah. NumPy random permutation, the length. Okay, so you, all right, I see what you're doing here. Image size. So basically, okay, you say indices is equal to NumPy random dot permutation. So you take the link. So basically you take when you take the length of X train, that's currently 50,000, right?
Yes.
And then when you say NumPy dot random dot permutation evaluated at 50,000,
Yes.
what do you get there?
It shuffles around all the numbers in that range and makes a random permutation of them.
Which I would, that's what I'm assuming you're trying to do there. Are you 100%? Because the length of X train is just a single value.
Yes.
So when you use NumPy random dot permutation, it returns a 50,000 length array.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So if you're sure about that, then we'll move forward. Image size equals X-train dot shape. X-train dot shape and channels and image size, I think you've already defined those above, right? As hyperparameters. So I don't know if you need to.
Oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah, so we can just say size channels. So we already have that. So you can comment those two lines out, but we would need to replace image size. So maybe what you can do is comment those two lines. And then go back up and in your hyperparameters, change the names to image size and channels. You see what I'm saying? So it's already channels, just change that to image size.
Well, I use size elsewhere, so I think I'll just change it down here.
Okay, yeah. As long as you get the idea of what I'm saying. Okay, sample size equals 1,000. X-train sample, NumPy zeros, sample size, channels, zero, sample indices from 0 to sample size, that's fine. For I and range of length to sample indices. Okay, that's fine. X-train evaluated at that. That looks fine. That looks fine. Scroll down a little bit more. Create model. Okay, there's your model. And then okay. All right, so it runs good. And then come down some more. And where's the problem at?
So I tried to like run a for, like where it says sample size equals 1,000. I first tried to run a for loop over the sample sizes there instead of hard coding it. And when I did that, say like for 100, it works fine. But then for 1,000, it just gives like a 10% accuracy at the end. And then like that happens for all the subsequent ones.
If I were you, what I would do then is scroll down a little bit more for me.
Okay.
A little bit more past the model and the output there.
Random question. I don't know if this is right or not, but in a for loop, would the models get tangled together?
Not if you reinstantiate the model inside of the for loop, right?
Yeah, I was doing that. I had like everything after the sample size point inside the for loop. So that includes all of the model stuff and the evaluation stuff too.
Let me take a look at something real quick. So I would have to see I would have to see the problem replicated, but here's the point. Two things. Number one, I would personally pull the code out of a notebook and I would put it in
Like a local
in the editor. Yeah.
file?
And you don't have to run all the way through the epochs, you know, and you don't even have to run through all the data set sizes. You can just do 100 and 1000 and you should see some level of improvement. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think you can actually go up to file, download, maybe, let's see. Download, yeah, and I think you can download as a .py. There you go. That way you don't have to pull it out of each individual cell. You know what I mean?
That is awesome.
Right?
Yeah, you can also work in Python scripts in Jupyter Lab or Notebook.
I'm so glad that's the case.
Let me see.
Okay, I don't have Python installed on this computer. It's
That's fine.
sort of, yeah.
Okay, so but basically here's the story that I want you to take away from this. Okay, your code looks fine for the most part, right? The only thing I want you to take away from this is that two things. For example, let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
So in PyTorch, right? In PyTorch here, I'm going to have this file here where I'm going to define my model. Okay. Import, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do all my model stuff here. And then in my main file, if you come down here, data model, okay. You see here where I actually get to instantiate my model in this way. Like I actually say net equals and I instantiate the model, okay? So the way I would do it in PyTorch is that I would put this all you would need to put is this stuff inside of your for loop, right? Is that clear to everybody? You don't actually need to put in the whole, but that's what I'm saying, the drawback of in this case of what I'm seeing in Keras. Now the thing is I'm sure there's a way to do it in Keras where you can actually do something similar to this, but having to put all of that model business inside of your for loop to me is messy, and probably there's a better way to do it. Actually, you probably want to use something like the functional or whatever. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Number one is the problem that I would, I think that you should pull it out of a notebook, and you should try running it on locally. Okay, that's the step one. And then step two is that, to me, putting that entire, because you know how you have model equals sequential, model.add, all that stuff right there. In my opinion, all of that should not go in your for loop. There should be some way to say, now here's what I do know. So if you don't want to do all of that, okay, you can say there's a way to basically clear all of the weights for your model, okay?
Okay, so you can like manually do that?
Yeah. And one thing I would try to first, here's the simplest solution that I would try, is I would try after the for loop has run and you've achieved the results that you were hoping, or you were looking for, right? You've retrieved the correct numbers. Then you should delete the model from memory, like del space model. And then on the next time around, it's really reinstantiate. I mean, it's like a whole new, it's like it's never seen that before. Does that make sense? That's the first thing I would try. The second thing I would try is, let me see if we can find something here. I would try something like clear weights Keras model. Reset weights in Keras layer, blah, 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 blah. Save the initial weights right after compiling the model, but before training it. Don't want to do that. And then after training, reset the model by reloading the initial weights. Okay, nah, that's dumb.
Oh, no, so it's saving the weights before the model gets trained so that you can reload the random.
Yeah.
untrained
But
weights.
there's got to be a better way to do it. I mean, why would I want to save anything random? I don't want to carry that. I mean, I just want to, I guess in the sense of reproducibility, that would make sense, right? This is probably, in my opinion, probably the correct way to do it. Okay. There's something called the initializers, right? And I told you guys briefly about this before. This is available in all of them and all of the frameworks that I know of. But basically what you want to do is there's different ways to initialize your weights. This is not pre-training, okay? It is different forms of random initialization, okay? One of those is called GloRot uniform, okay? So from Keras, if you use Keras initializers, let's see where they use it here. New weights, here we go. New weights, and they use this line, K-eval, GloRot, uniform, blah, 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 for weights and initial weights, model set weights. That's probably, in my opinion, the correct way to do this, right? Now, in the case of this experiment specifically, if you did want to do it in this way, where you save the initial weights, this way it's going to be truly reproducible. Does that make sense? Right? So those are the things I would try. Okay, Chu?
Okay, and then the other thing was I wasn't entirely sure how to use TensorBoard. Is it something that only works on a local editor, or can it be used with the
That I don't know.
No.
I would assume that is true, but if
You could use it in Colab.
I've seen
Um,
it too.
okay.
Yeah, I can send you. It was like I just looked up how to use TensorBoard and Colab, and then there were a few like statements I had to put, and it just shows it. Like it doesn't open up a new window, but it shows it in the output of that cell, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're working
Um,
in a local editor, just make sure your log directory is correct.
So over like the rest of this summer, are we going to have to be doing these things locally? Because my computer is fairly slow, which is why.
No, you're not going to
I-
run anything locally,
Okay.
but you are going, I mean, I would be willing to say 100% that you're going to need an editor on your local, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to, everything, all of your codes are going to get sent to the GPU cluster, right? Well, but you can't, for all intents and purposes, unless you want to use like a terminal based editor, which I highly think is like what's it called?
Nano or Vim.
Vim. Thank you. Vim is the name I was looking for. Nano's easier to work with. Vim is not easy to work with unless you're like die-hard Linux fan. You're never going to edit your code that way. So not to mention the fact that you literally have to code every single line. There's no suggestions. There's no squiggly red lines that go under your whatever. So you're going to need an editor on your local machine. You're going to save the code on your machine. Then you're going to copy it to your server directory. And then you're going to run it from there. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
So no, you're not going to run anything, but I would be willing to say you should absolutely download the editor. Or
Well,
some
yeah, I do have an editor. It's
Okay,
just,
okay.
And then we're going to have to also install Linux.
No. You're not going to need to do any of that. You're going to, from the Anaconda prompt, you can do it that way. You can copy your files over to the server. You can also use FileZilla, which is like a GUI for file sharing between you and some remote server. That's another way to do it, but you're going to need a prompt of some sort to transfer these things. And I don't know if I would recommend using the Windows command prompt. I would say that Anaconda prompt is probably the way to go. But anyways, whatever you do from this point forward, you know, if you deviate from the stuff that I've kind of laid out, I may not be able to help you. That's the point, right? So you're welcome to go any direction you want, but I may not be the person to be able to help you with your problems at that level. Okay, so who's next?
I can go.
I'm sure yours works, right? I want to do people who doesn't work, or whose code doesn't work. Lee, do you want to go? Okay, Sanjay, you're up.
All right. So I had I had a specific thing I was curious about. So yeah, obviously I made the same mistake of using collabs instead of local, but so here I have currently 5 layers for my model, and you can see that I have 2 million something parameters, right?
Okay.
But then as soon as I add a 6th layer here,
Yeah.
Suddenly the parameters drop to like half. Is that normal?
I don't know. Let's compare again. So let me see.
When I compared it before, it was like this dense layer that suddenly dropped. So you can
If
see.
you're convolving it another time, then I think that'll make it smaller, unless you have the padding set to screen.
The extra layer is a pooling layer rather than a involving layer.
I guess something else to note is it says conv2d 8, 9, 10, 11. You might want to restart your notebook environment so you're not making some astronomically huge model.
Oh, like. Oh, that's weird. I just restarted it.
Unless I'm misinterpreting this, that's also very possible.
Like, is it stacking more on every time, do you think?
Yeah, because I'm assuming that's not the first. Yeah. Like I would do like restart and clear output or whatever it's called on here.
I see working with neural networks on notebooks is a sensitive thing.
I was just is there a way, because my only reason for doing it on notebooks to begin with was for the online or the remote GPU rather than trying to use my Steam Engine laptop.
If you're talking to me, just hold on 1 second.
Like there's nothing wrong with using a notebook. Like heck, I even used one, but like you'll just want to restart the environment. So I think it's under like runtime or something. Like I haven't used Colab, so restart runtime. Not factory reset, that one, yeah. And then run all the cells up until that line.
There we go. Yep.
Like I don't know if that was necessarily why, but
this is one of the drawbacks of using notebooks.
Yeah, especially because like restarting the kernel is a bit more difficult than it should be for most interfaces.
So I don't know if you just did this or not, but go up to tools, I think. Yeah. Nope, just continue over the menu bar selections, and I want to see what's available. Runtime. No, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Probably, okay, one more, go to file. Probably in file. What I'm looking for is invalidate cache and restart. That's pretty much what we're looking for.
Oh, we already did that. It was in runtime. You have to like restart the virtual runtime.
Okay, you already did that.
Yeah, we just did that and ran all the code up to that point.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, now that everybody knows you can do that, that's good, thank you.
So besides that, I guess here's my data that I collected. Yeah, you can see here I had to, the layers go 6, 3, 4, 5, but the parameters go up steadily. So I hope that's okay.
Okay, show me. What did you say? Can you repeat what you just said? I like how you've put all this out though, by the way.
Thank you.
Everybody can take a note out of this playbook, because keeping track of all of the hyperparameters can be an incredibly difficult problem. And if you think about, I'm sure most of you have had some kind of science before, chemistry, whatever. You have to like keep track of every single parameter. You know what I mean? So remember how I was telling you guys how, there's these frameworks like PyTorch, and then TensorFlow, Keras, and all that stuff. And then I said, but there's also these new things that people are coming out with, like project managers, where you can kind of drag and drop stuff and whatever. Well, part of all of that, part of one of the benefits of those things is it keeps track of all your hyperparameters for you, right? But I mean, if you've ever had any kind of chemistry class, think about your logbook, your lab log. You have to keep track of like every single, I did this with the titration, and then, every single value or whatever. So this is awesome. I think this looks so good right here. Yep. So anyways, you guys can take a play out of this book. So, all right. So Sanjay, you're okay now?
Yeah, I guess now that I'm looking at some of the data,
Yeah.
it could just be chalked up to me not refreshing it or like restarting the runtime.
Yeah.
Um,
And that could be something similar that you would want to try, Chu, too.
Yeah, and for Tensor, so the reason why I did this in Google Sheets was TensorBoard, I had trouble getting it to do like custom Y values and X values. It only did accuracy versus epochs.
Yeah.
So that's my main reason for doing it here.
Okay. So I'll say this. What I think you're doing here is great. Okay. I don't want to take away from that. What I do want to say is that pretty much for Dr. Shaw's case, okay, because what you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of discussion time that's required for him to understand your results. Okay. Almost always you're going to want epoch along the x-axis, and you're going to want either loss or accuracy. In the case of a classification problem, which this is, you're going to want either loss or accuracy along the y-axis. Okay. Now, what you've done here is brilliant, because this is exactly what the assignment asks for. So that's awesome. Okay. For his sake, imagine, because he doesn't know what the assignment says. Only I know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
So he doesn't know what the assignment says. All he knows is you ran a model. What are the results? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for his sake, when you want to put stuff in your presentation, it's probably better that you just stick with the standard epochs along the X, accuracy, and loss along the Y. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this what you got going here will be useful. You'll use this again somewhere along the way in your research. Okay. All right. So that's that. Anything else before we move forward?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, good. All right. Lee, you're next.
Okay, so let me share my screen.
Yep. While you do that, Robert, how's everything going on your end, man?
See, like, I got most everything working. I
Yeah.
think the biggest problem I had is that I was trying to do things on two separate computers,
Uh,
and then hmm, like I did something on one of them, and it just completely crashed, like my entire computer.
was that your Mac?
So yeah, that was the desktop. Now I'm on the laptop,
Yeah.
so I had to like kind of rewrite it, but now it's not working.
Let me say this. If I were you, I would stick solely with the Mac because soon you're not going to actually be running anything on your machine. You're other than just pressing the run button to see if it crashes or not. Other than
All of
that,
them are Macs, but
oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
Man, I knew you were the guy to go to. All right, good. Well, okay, we'll come back to you, okay? If you need
Yeah.
anything. Okay. All right, so let's do this firstly. So I would like to see, let's see how you're what's going on with PyCharm. Let's go there
Okay,
first.
so it seems like my pattern is not being imported correctly. Like it's literally the errors is not being detected as well.
Okay, so let's go,
So-
let's not do that. So let's exit out of that and let's go to preferences or, hey, Mac people, where are non-Mac, Windows people, where is the preferences?
It
Oh,
should say in file.
Okay, file,
I think
Yeah.
she's in the right environment.
Yeah, I think I just saw the problem.
Settings.
Settings.
No, it's in file, like, and then the option that says settings, there's a wrench. Towards, no,
Down.
right
Oh,
there.
yeah, I see.
And
Cool.
then,
go to project, AS1. By the way, Lee, I love that you called it AS1 because every time I've ever done an assignment in like my 20 years of college.
interpreter.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just I'm not.
No, I think it's brilliant. Because now, look, I gotta turn off the recording just for a second because this is about to get real. Okay.
I have this one here.
Okay, good. So
And
let me hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, let me see. So this is, so I don't think that's the correct environment. Yeah, use the 3.61.
okay. So apply.
Now let me say this. And I'm not being ugly to you at all.
Oh,
What
okay.
I do want to say is this is just a kind of a shout out to everybody. This is why I ask you guys to do things exactly the way I do them, so that we're all on the same page. Because like your remember how a couple days ago you had your environment and it was a different name, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I'm not entirely sure. So let's do this. Okay, so go back to where you just were in settings. Good. Okay. Now I want to see what packages we're working with here. I just want to make sure Keras is installed. So go down to Keras for me, please.
Yes. Yeah, it's here.
Brilliant. Okay, now go down to TensorFlow. Let's make sure that's installed. TensorFlow, perfect. And then go up to NumPy, and I want to see what version you're using because that looks like the error. One of the warnings you're getting down there.
Okay.
It might be because she ran it before it finished loading all the packages.
Yeah. Okay. So NumPy, there we go. So we're gonna downgrade your NumPy.
Okay.
But we're gonna do that somewhere else. So cancel that. Good.
Do I do it here?
Yeah, we're gonna do it there. And what was that? Does anybody remember? No, don't do that. Remember the command I typed in the other day? Pip.
Pip install. Yeah. Do I need to activate my environment first?
Yeah. Go into. Yeah. Good. Okay.
If you see what's in parentheses on the left, it'll tell you what environment you're in, so you don't necessarily have to do activate.
All right. So pip install. What was the? Does anybody remember pip install?
Zane says 1.17. That's in
No. But yeah, no. Yeah, there it is. There it is, Zane. Yeah. Copy what's in the chat right now. Copy what's in the chat.
Chat. Okay. 1 second.
It's not in the Slack. It's at the Zoom chat.
In the Zoom chat. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I will need to go to the Zoom.
Wait, how are you connected then?
I'm connecting with my phone. My computer does not have any speakers or stuff. So
Here, how about I just tell you what to type, okay?
yeah, if you can post in the Slack, would be very helpful.
Zane, put it in snippets, would you? Put it in snippets as code.
Okay, I see. I'm
Snippets, yeah, there it is. Go down to snippets,
Oh, okay,
on the-
great.
change the
Yeah.
channel. Hey. Okay, let's try that.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's try that. That's all fine. I'm uninstalling NumPy. Good, successful. Okay, good. Now
Okay.
go back to PyCharm. Okay. Now it's going to need to update. So we cancel this. Yeah. It's going to need to update. See, it's indexing in the bottom, discovering binary modules.
So how can I update it?
No. Look at the bottom. Look at scanning installed packages. Look at the very bottom of the screen. Okay, there it just finished. Okay. So now let's
Okay.
try. Has no attribute populate dictionary with model objects.
Yeah,
you
I've been
run it
getting
again?
like this kind of attribute errors. Like I just Google them and Stackflow Google them, and then I fix one of them, and then another one just pops out, and then just keep doing that.
We'll come back to that. Okay, so try running your code again. I want to make sure we get. Check. I want to see. Could not load dynamic. Okay, now scroll back up for me, please. In your yep, in the error. No. In the output, yeah, scroll up so I can see what line we're working on. There we go. Trace back line to import Keras from line 20 from period import initializers. All right, so shrink this window just a little bit for me, please. And then scroll up in your code.
This is literally the code I copied from the website, Chinese website we shared yesterday.
Okay, right there where your cursor just was. Oh, right after the import OS.
Import IO. Okay.
Okay, I want you to return, and then put exit, open, close parenthesis.
X.
No, EXIT. Yeah. Okay. Now run your code.
Yeah, same thing. Seems like importing part has some problem.
Get rid of from future import print function. We don't need that.
Future import.
Yep.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yep, get rid of that. And then I want you to comment out every line except for import Keras.
Maybe that her version of Python is 3.6. That's why, because for others, we're using 3.7 and it's working for them.
Oh, could be. Okay, seems like Keras itself have problem.
All right, so go back to your Anaconda prompt for me, please. And type in history 100. History space 200. ID 200. Meh. Okay, I guess you can't use it here. Does anybody know what the history command is for full get history PowerShell commands? What I'm trying to do is I want to see how you installed TensorFlow. That's what I want to see.
Oh, okay.
Also, try pressing the up arrow. Delete that and press up arrow. Yeah, keep going. Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda list. So why did you? Yeah, just keep going. TensorFlow GPU. Do you have a GPU on your computer?
Yes, I do.
I think the issue right now is it doesn't like the way everything was installed. It doesn't like that NumPy has now been downgraded.
Mhm.
Well, here's the other thing. What's the GPU you have on your machine like?
Oh, I think it's GTX. I can type in the chat.
Now here's the problem. Okay, like for example, I like with NVIDIA, you have to
Mhm.
install like with NVIDIA GPUs, you have to install all of the NVIDIA drivers separately
Oh, okay.
first. So here, my point is this: is I think what you should do is uninstall. I think we should install a version of TensorFlow that does not take advantage of the GPU. Okay,
Okay.
that's what I want to get rid of. First, I want to.
I just did type install TensorFlow. This is what I did.
Yeah. So, but usually it's better if you use Conda if possible.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But no. Like I said in the presentation, you should always Google first the proper way to install it. Because I don't know. It's not always as simple as Conda install, XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
But you want Conda install. Conda install. Type that there. I mean, it could be that simple. We'll find out. Go to the second one where it says TensorFlow.
I don't know.
But yeah, go back to the browser. Let's finish what we were doing. How about that? Okay. TensorFlow, : Anaconda, the second value. No. Slow down. There you go. Yeah.
This guy? Okay.
Yep. Let's scroll down. There we go. So there's, yes, there you go. Okay. Now what I want you to do is first of all, we need to remove. So let's go back to your Anaconda prompt. Press Control C. Okay.
Okay.
Let's uninstall. We have to, so here's the thing. We need to remove, no.
No?
We just wait. All right, we need to remove TensorFlow, which
Okay.
since Keras is dependent on TensorFlow, it should remove that. So do Conda list, type in Conda list, yeah. All right, scroll up to where it says TensorFlow. I want to see what all is in there. TensorBoard, TensorFlow GPU. So now we have to actually remove that as well. Okay. So let's go down. Let's just remove everything. So I think it's Conda remove. I can't remember. Type in man, M-A-N. Conda, try that. Man Conda.
I feel like at this point it might be easier just to delete the environment and set it up again.
You know what? That's probably a good idea. That's
Okay, sure. So how to delete it?
That's exactly what I did.
So let me see. Conda delete environment. All right, here's what you're going to type. You ready?
Yep, sure.
First of all, do Conda. Let me just say this before. Here's one thing I'm noticing. I would highly recommend that you stop just typing things and trying them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
No. Not for the sake of us. Not for the sake of us. For your sake, because you're just like typing stuff and trying it, and sometimes that can really hurt you. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
I see.
you should just be like for example, oh, I'll just try pip install or whatever. You should always check first, because it may seem straightforward, but this stuff is really, as you can tell, very sensitive to error. So, okay. All right. So let's try, first of all, Conda deactivate, type that.
Deactivate.
Just Conda deactivate.
Yeah, deactivate.
No. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now I want you to type this: Conda env remove -n No, not just the letter N for name. Yep. The environment name. So Mia 000. Yep. And that should be it. Try that. Remove all
Okay.
packages. Yes. Interesting. There's no Y. I feel like it should be a Y or an N. Okay, good. Moving in the right direction.
Okay, seems
Okay,
like
good.
it's okay.
Now, assuming, okay, now let's create a new. So here's what we're going to do. Conda create -n REU 2021. What was the no?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Lee, you gotta stop. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me. You
Okay, I
can't
will be
just
slow
type that.
down.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I didn't install that one. So
Okay. Create -n. What was the Python version we used? 7 or 8? 7, right?
7.
Yeah, 3.7.
Python, or where did Python equals 3.7, and then Anaconda, space Anaconda. Now you can press enter.
It did that for me too. Just let it do its thing.
Yeah.
okay, okay.
That for me too.
I mean, Python is great and all, but one of the worst things they have is just setting up that virtual environment and getting it to work all the time.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm asking silly stuff.
No.
Okay.
Listen. It is much better that you feel silly right here in this meeting than in a meeting with your graduate's advisor and Dr. Shaw. Okay. This is the
Okay.
time. This is the time to get all of this out of the way. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. Okay. So just let that work. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And I have something about like this assignment one. So I got it done in the Google Colab, but
Yeah.
it's such a pain. I want to use my machine later. Anyways, I think it mentioned about around like 4 layers, and every layer needs at least 3 steps, something like that. But I found that hurting my performance, so I just only use 2 steps instead of 3 steps. And I got like 100 epics here and somewhere like 91% accuracy.
okay.
Yeah, something like here and here with the graph.
But if you look, go back for a second.
Yep.
Why was your validation accuracy so much lower?
It's overfitting. Like you can see how it spikes around like the 17th or 18th epoch, and then it just starts going down.
Validation accuracy history. Yeah, but I mean, it gets up to what, 37% maybe?
That's kind of crazy though. Like it should be at least 50 or 60.
Yeah, something's not right.
Okay.
You see, that's right there. Go back up. That's the epoch accuracy. No. The blue and the orange right there. There you go. That's what I want to look at. All right. So
Okay.
if you'll notice, here's the problem. If you look, see how many what's the data size you're using here?
I'm using the entire data. I haven't implemented the control data like the pool
Okay,
yet.
that's fine.
So I'm using the entire pool.
Okay, now something's not right if you look at even here, right? Or there, okay. You look at how your blue line, which is validation, only gets up to 30% accuracy, right?
Mhm,
But then look at your orange line, it's almost up to 100%, right?
mhm.
So those two, something's wrong. So what's your learning rate in this code?
Learning rate, how can I check it?
At some point you should have said, like in your hyperparameters, learning rate equals something.
Or if you didn't, sometimes they just default to something.
So scroll to the top for me, please. Very top. Okay, next cell.
Yeah,
Next.
this one, just put it in. I haven't used this one yet.
That's fine. Next cell. Here, batch size, number of epochs. Okay, so let's put in a new hyperparameter here called learning rate. You can call it LR equals, do spaces with the equals. 0.0, just, well, like you have with your other 0.01.
0.01, like this.
Yeah, get rid of the 0 in front of the, yeah. No, delete that and then delete the 0 in front of the decimal point. There you go. And put a, remove one of the spaces, delete again. Left arrow twice, space. There you go. Okay. Now, learning rate needs to be updated in which one of the, was it model.compile, I think, right, everyone?
Oh, I'm using TensorFlow, not using the Keras, so it's still a bit different, but I guess it's the same idea.
Scroll back up and show me what you mean by that. I want to see at the very top your import statements.
Okay.
Import Keras right there. I thought I saw it. Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a look here. That's fine. I mean, if it's TensorFlow 2.0, I think there's some overlaps there. So then where is the learning rate put? So go down more. Go down more. There, stop. Model equals model.compile. So hold on one second, okay? Keras model.compile. Optimizer loss metrics. So it's not there. Maybe it's in your loss function then. I guess I can just look at the code.
Where did I put my loss function? Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be a string, the loss function?
Like this?
Think so. Am I right, Robert?
I'm not looking at that right now. You guys help her out.
Yeah, I'll give it a try to see if the string gonna work.
Let me see. Model fit. Maybe it's in model.fit. That would make more sense, actually. Well, I mean, that's where all the other hyperparameters are. Model fit. Model compile, model fit. Keras learning rates. It's in the optimizer.
It's in
That
compile,
would make the
right?
most sense. Okay, so show me where you define your optimizer.
Adam.
Yeah, show me where. Okay. Inside of the parentheses there, what I want you to type is learning rate, learning underscore rate.
Learning underscore rate.
Is equal to LR. Now
Okay.
move that line after that line. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. There you go. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, before we do anything else, let's go back and check our Anaconda prompt.
Okay.
Still solving environment.
I
Okay,
understood about something is went wrong.
no, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. This is very normal. What's happening? This is what happened to all of us.
Oh, really? For
Mhm.
me, first time I sent was so fast though.
So why don't you stop sharing your screen? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop sharing your screen. But I want you to let that solve. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna come back here. I'll meet you guys back here at 12:05. Okay.
All right.
So I'll see you back in like 10 minutes. Okay. And then we'll talk from there. Okay.
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 Thanks.
Let's
So
let
it's
it-
like not a lunch break yet. We're just kind of just vibing.
Yeah. I just want to let that. Yeah. Okay. See you soon.
Hello again.
Are you guys alive? Are you in there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Michael's back.
Yep.
Hello.
All right, Michael. Mr. Comments today.
Did I miss anything?
And yeah, we actually solved deep learning while you were gone, so you're gonna have to watch the recording. Oh man.
Just lots of troubleshooting.
Yeah, lots of troubleshooting. So, yeah, sorry, it took me a minute apparently. So last night my daughters were trying to attack me and get me wet with like a dish sponge. So I got them back and got them wet. And then they decided they wanted to go get a water gun and shoot me. And anyways, there's like water on the floor in one of their rooms. And then one of them slipped, hit her foot, had this huge like inflamed area, then had to go to the doctor. Doctor thought it was broken and fractured. And then took some MRIs. Turns out it's just a bone contusion or a bone bruise. So she's gonna have to wear a boot and crutches for like 2 weeks. So just another day in the life, folks. Hold on one second. Can I help you? She'll be here soon. She'll be here soon. Okay, you can play your iPad. So anyways, Lee, what's the status?
Okay, so the Anaconda is still following the environment. And I did the suggested changes on the Colab.
Yeah.
It seems like the accuracy went down. Yeah, I literally, the accuracy went from like a 90% to like a 10%.
I'm sorry, repeat that last line.
As you can see on the screen here, after you did that kind of changes, and now the accuracy is only like a 10% now, 11%.
Which epoch is this? Oh, wow. Epoch 90. And what change did we make? Just the learning rate, right?
The learning rate, yeah. And another thing is that, like the loss assumption, the folks suggest me to put the code here rather than directly putting the sentence there. So just put the code here. I just did these 2 changes.
No, I don't think you need to do that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that's actually correct. Go to the very top of your screen where where you do the import statements.
Okay, sure. Let me just very quickly refresh this whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Google Colab is so difficult to use. Okay, so yeah, let me just quickly get rid of this before I forget about
No,
it.
no.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there you go. That's just that. Okay. For whoever suggested it needs to be a string, it doesn't need to be a string because she actually imports it. See, sparse categorical cross entropy.
Yeah, this one, right?
Yeah. So go ahead and do that. And then
Yeah, I think this is the
no.
one.
Leave that
Sorry
alone.
about that.
Leave that alone. Now let's try. Did you kill the runtime and invalidate the caches and whatnot?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, now let's run all the cells again.
Okay. Oh, sorry, not that one. This one.
Any specific reason why you're using 100 epochs?
Oh, I found that if I'm keeping doing more epochs, the accuracy goes up.
Okay.
Go big or go home, Zane. 100's probably too much, honestly. But we'll see. Here we go. All right, let's see what we can come up with here. Loss is high. Accuracy is low. Loss is going down. Accuracy is going up.
Yeah, but it goes up way slower than if we do not put learning rate there, though.
No, that's okay. That's okay. This is
Okay.
all part of, so this is exactly what you'll be doing when you're doing your own research. So does everybody see how it's you can see that it's actually okay, it's training. Okay, everybody see that? I would call this model training, right? It's training slowly though. So in general, what you want to do here, first of all, what I'm looking at is this. Okay, I'm looking at losses going down, accuracies going up. Okay.
So when talking about loss and accuracy, are talking about this one in the front here, or are talking about the ones over here instead?
Yeah, so that's actually, so I'll come to that. So now, but one thing I wanted to point out is that, so I'm looking at the loss, making sure it's going down. I'm looking at the accuracy to make sure it's going up. It can have a little pitfall along the way. For example, let's say, it goes down instead of up for one epoch, and then the next one it jumps back. That's okay. Okay. Then what I'm also looking at is to make sure that those trends are being mimicked with the validation accuracy. Okay. And right now, my validation accuracy, if you look at, so we have 10 classes, right?
Yeah.
So so basically if you so what would you
I thought it was 100 classes.
Oh yeah, it was 100, I think. Yeah.
Are you using CFAR 100?
Yeah.
Okay, you should be using CFAR 10.
Oh, that is a 70, right? It's if I thought we were supposed to use 100. I'm using 100 here.
No. Assignment 0 is a different data set entirely.
Oh, okay.
This should be CFAR 10. And the reason is because I want your results to look like other people's. So now let's stop this code. Right, but now you have to actually stop all of the cells and run them all again. And let's change your, I want you to change your learning rate to 0.1. Okay, this is exactly what you guys are going to be doing in your research, right? Sorry, I'm eating some pizza rolls. Okay, I hope you can forgive me.
Okay, so I'm supposed to use CFAR 10, not 100, right?
No, don't change that. First, let's change your learning rate.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now let's do it all again.
Do you want me to use CFAR 10 rather from CFAR 100?
No. Here's the thing. Okay, keep in mind what we're doing is science, right? I want to change one thing and see how. Okay, one thing at a time.
Okay. All right. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, run those cells. My kid just got home. She's going to be on crutches. I'm going to go outside, help her inside. This is going to take less than 2 minutes. Okay, so you guys keep doing this. Give her some feedback. I'm going to come right back. Okay. Lorelai, you can't leave the door open, sweetheart. The dogs are going to get out.
I hope the dogs don't knock you over. They're excited.
Okay. Okay, what happened?
It's still training extremely slowly. It looks like the accuracy is going down, as you can see.
Let's just give it a couple epochs. Because it also looks like the loss is going down.
Mm-hmm. I'm just confused, like for assignment 1, are we using the 10 or 100? Because on the GitHub, it says we use the 100.
Go backwards one line. No. Go back where you were. Go backwards one line. No. Line.
Line. CFAR 10, CFAR 100,
Yeah.
CFAR 100.
When I told you guys, I said it says that it CFAR 10 in the first line, and then it
Oh,
says
you're talking about this one. I remember you said something like you need to change.
no.
No.
I mean, it's really not a big deal either way.
Okay,
Let's go back to your code.
So basically we are using the CFAR 10 rather than 100 then.
So to me, it doesn't look like it's training.
Yeah.
All right, so that's enough of this. So we'll come back to that, okay? We'll work on that. This is what I do want to do. I want to go, I want to make sure your Anaconda environment's correct. So let's go back to your Anaconda prompt and see how that's looking.
I honestly, the bot, it is working.
Yeah, still solving environment. This process can take a very long time. So
Okay.
can you do another favor for me? So open a new browser window. Oh,
yeah.
A new browser tab, I'm sorry, a new tab. Yeah. Can you go to speedtest.com or just type in speed test? I want to see where your internet speed is. Yeah. Sure. No, go to the one by Ookla. Yeah.
Go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's black anyways.
So yeah, your internet speed's pretty slow, so it's going to take a while, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's just, so you can close out of this. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to, in my mind, the code problems that you're having, whether they're problems or not, I don't want to solve them here in this notebook. I would like to solve them inside of PyCharm, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so once your Anaconda environment is done, then we're going to come back to you.
Okay.
We're going to make sure, but here, listen, please listen very carefully.
Okay.
No, you can leave that there. That's what we want. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Do whatever you want with the code. But my point is this, please don't install anything into your environment without talking to me first, okay?
Okay, I will just keep it like this, and when it's done, I will tell you.
Exactly. Just let it do that, okay?
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, who's next? Robert.
Yeah, my main problem now is that like I don't know how Ethan did it, but like the graphing.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
share it.
Yeah. I legit do not understand how to do it at all. I was up until like 8 a.m. and I got nothing to show for it.
It's okay. Share it.
Let's see if we can fix it. So I believe we can.
That happened to me yesterday. I spent all day just setting up TensorBoard. It's because of Windows packages.
Like I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Pretty sure it's like right around here is where you put in the TensorBoard thing. Like it works. Like TensorBoard works. I just don't know how to do the custom graphs where you're doing like epics and.
Oh, you're not actually sending the TensorBoard to the fit function.
I'm not. Okay.
So here's what I would do. I would shorten the name of your TensorBoard variable on line 76, just because that's really long.
Like
Just
the
call it like,
callback
you just call it like TensorBoard or whatever you want.
DB.
All right, that works. So then as a parameter in your model.fit function on the next line,
Mhm.
before the parentheses, add
Yeah.
call. So after y test close parentheses on the right.
Do this for me. Go right in front of batch size and press return.
What were you saying?
Go in front of batch size.
Say it again. That's
Can you maximize this window?
Yeah.
And there we go. Okay. All right. So go right in front of batch size. Put your cursor in front of batch size. Not that batch size. The one history model.fit.
Hold on me.
Yep. Return. Epochs. Return.
Yeah, I probably should have done that for mine too.
Verbose. Return. Validation data. Return. Go to in between the green and the yellow. Return. Actually, put a comma right there. Yep. Okay. Now, Ethan, you can go.
All right. Let me see if it's callback or callbacks plural.
Just start typing and it
It's
should.
plural.
Callback, yeah, callbacks plural equals square bracket, TB, close bracket.
Tuberculosis.
Yeah, you have to give your model to, it uses the power of tuberculosis to show you graphs.
So Robert, I got some comments.
Okay.
The validation data in that model.fit. You know how you said that there's your training data, and then there's that validation data, and then there's the test data. I believe when you put that validation data as your test here, it will actually validate on the test data.
That's fine, which is fine. I mean, just as long as you guys understand that data sets can be split in such a, typically, if they're split with validation data, it's a separate show.
Yeah.
You
So
remember yesterday how when I did model.evaluate and I actually got the same score that I had for validation data, that's because we're doing the X test, Y test here.
yeah, and that's what I was going to point out. That's why that was happening. So, okay, cool.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I think you're ready for action, man.
Wait, so like, I'm confused though. So if I just like, if I run something real quick, right?
Okay.
Just have it. Because like I have Tensor, like I've had it open and I could see the graphs and everything. I just don't get the custom ones.
Yeah, and I'm not your guy for that because I use Matplotlib for it. So, and I know that Sanjay used Excel for his. So who has developed custom graphs inside of TensorBoard?
Custom, not yet.
Yeah. And Robert, honestly, I don't think you need them.
Well, it was just like how the assignment was phrased. I thought I had to like do something.
No. Here's the thing. Here's what I care about. I care that you have this nice running code. Okay. Because now you can take this code with you. It's in your pocket. It's in your toolbox. Okay. What I don't care about is the stuff in the assignment where it says show the graphs for data size versus epoch or whatever. I don't care about all that.
Okay.
Just all I care about is the graphs that it should give you automatically in TensorBoard.
Okay, then that's fine. I thought I have to do more than that.
Yeah, okay. The graphs that we care about are, and everybody, this is very important, so please listen. The graphs we care about, because I've already said it like 10 times, the graph we care about has epochs on the x-axis, and it has either accuracy or loss on the y-axis. Everybody cool with that?
I'm assuming you mean validation accuracy, right?
I mean, both accuracies. I mean,
Both accuracies. Okay.
typically, the way you want to look at it is a single graph for accuracies and a single graph for losses. So for your accuracies, you're going to have a validation accuracy, which in this case, we're going to call it test accuracy. You're going to have a test accuracy, and you're going to have a train accuracy, okay? And as we saw in Lee's graph, it's important to see both of those because remember how we saw that her training accuracy continued to go up, but her validation accuracy did not. And that is indicative that there's a problem somewhere in the model. So that's why we want to see both of those things. Okay, so Robert, are you good?
I think the last thing I'd do is be able to open TensorBoard in this new environment.
Yeah, when you have space in your directory path, put them in between quotations. Like
Just put the entire directory in quotations. Yeah.
yeah, assignment 1, put it in quotations.
That may not be true on a Mac.
Oh, right, he's on Mac.
Assignment 1, go right after assignment.
Yeah.
Put a backslash. No, that's a forward slash.
Oh,
Put a backslash.
yeah.
And then I think you do a space. I'm not sure. Yeah, try that. Isn't it supposed to say log directory equals?
I believe so. I mean, hey, it looks like it worked.
We'll find out.
Right. Go.
Go to your browser and type localhost :6006.
Just press the button, it'll launch it. Should be able to. Like
It'll be in scalars. Graph shows you your model. And then click the little, see the 3 blue icons below each graph?
Yeah.
The rightmost one. I guess it needs more epochs to do that. Okay, I'm just trying to like scale it so you can actually see change other than a horizontal line.
All right, I'll let it keep running, but yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, good. Let us know if it's not.
All right.
All right. Anybody else want to go? Ethan, you want to go?
Sure. Alrighty.
I'm going to be looking for some fancy footwork from you.
I'll do my best, but you might be disappointed. So I started by just like getting a model from the TensorFlow documentation and getting that working.
Yeah, good.
And then once I got that working, there was like around 70% accuracy. Actually, let me pull up TensorBoard. Give me that localhost. And that gave me some okay accuracy. Oh wait, so there's our accuracy and then validation accuracy. So they like peaked around like 69 or 70-ish. Stupid things inside. So, all right. And here I'm just using convolution pooling, one more convolution, then flatten, and this jazz. Add them for my optimizer, and yeah. Then after that, I made copies of the notebook so I could safely make changes without, ruining things. So first thing I started doing was adding extra dense layers because before I knew what was wrong with my convolution. So I just added a second one here, and then for dense, I added 3 more. And that didn't really help much.
I like that approach though. You just, let's try fully connected layers first, see what happens.
Yeah. Because like I wanted to do something, right? So then I might have to rescale it. All right, let's just minimize that because that is in the way of everything. So we got, about the same accuracy here. Original still the highest. And so after that, I started screwing around with the optimizer. So just making copies of my original notebook. Actually, I think I just kept it in this. Oh no, I did make a separate notebook for that. But yeah, I just changed the optimizer. That really changed a lot.
Interesting.
So if I rescale again, like usually Ada Delta does way better, but so Atom was the original and RMS Prop did like slightly better, but I think that's just within like run to run variance. SGD is lower, Adagrad lower, and Ada Delta performed the worst. So that was me screwing with optimizers. Something else I was curious about is the output layer uses ReLU by default. And since we only want to predict one class, I thought, okay, what if we put softmax on it? So then we get a definite answer. And that actually hurt us a bit. So that was a bit
Actually,
weird.
That's very standard. That's actually
Really?
Even say, yeah, softmax should be there.
But it's, yeah, like, because if I go to my,
Almost never is ReLU used at the end. I've actually never seen it.
yeah, because I like there's no activation specified for this layer, and I'm pretty sure the default is ReLU. So
There's no way. Well, actually, no, I'm sure you're right. Since it's just a dense. How strange.
yeah, no. So I don't know, like I was thinking, oh, softmax is going to give us some more definite answers. That's what we want, and apparently not.
Huh.
So next thing I did, this was the more difficult part. I tried both methods of reducing the data set size. First, just saying, hey, let's use the first n elements.
Yeah.
And because these already come like randomly sorted, that was okay. And as to be expected, here's 100 from each class performed very bad. 1,000 massive increase, and then we saw noticeable but small but noticeable increases from 10,000 and 25,000 for each here. And then the fun part about implementing the data set size reducer, that was kind of a massive pain. There's definitely a better way to do it, but I use the dictionary, and I'm counting how many I have. For some reason I decided to use a second array to determine whether I'm done. This is probably just a remnant from me coding in C. And then I have a separate array that stores the indices of all that, going through possibly the entire set, checking if we have enough from this class, appending it if we need to. And this is also like checking if we're done with that. And then this is early break. If we say, if we only need 100 elements and we found all 100, there's no reason to go through the rest of it. Although this is probably a slow operation because we're adding everything in there. And then down here, making new NumPy arrays. And I wrote this at like 1 a.m. So I can kind of, this is one thing I didn't comment. I commented this, I have not commented this. This is, I believe, just like transferring things over. So, and then here, this is bringing the images over. And then finally, because I didn't want to change train and test or train labels and images, I decided to just bring them over. And that produced about the same results. So if I say samples 100, class 100. Oh, right. Yeah, because 100, the first 100 samples, it isn't guaranteed to generalize well, because it's not like, it's random, but it's not guaranteed to have an even distribution. So this is actually the first time I'm looking at these graphs side by side here. And then if we look at 1,000 of each, yeah, the generalized ones work way better, because then you're not relying on chance to get good data. I also had to use 1/10 of the 25,000 because there are not that many pieces of data. So there are only 5,000. What is it? Only 5,000 images per class in the training set. And I guess at this point, since we have 25,000 images, you can assume that there's a good distribution because it's already given that that's the case. So I guess the impact of picking the first n elements is minimize the more elements you choose. And then obviously as we pick the first 10,000 elements, that's pretty close as well. Original sanity check, that was just making sure my algorithm didn't mess things up when given the original size. I think that's within run-to-run variance, although somehow it's slightly higher, which makes no sense to me, but I think that's in run-to-run variance. It's like 0.5%. Next thing I changed was once I got like convolution stuff to work, this is where we saw the largest improvement is adding double convolutional layers. Believe I called that one stacked com2d layers. Yes. Yeah, so instead of having, oh, this is the triple stacked, but basically instead of just having com2d max pooling, I have multiple convolutions before pooling. So for double stacked, this one doesn't exist. And this one doesn't exist. And that gave us a noticeable improvement of about 4%, which I think that's pretty good. I decided, all right, let's go for gold and, you know, add a third. That brought us back down a bit. So that was too much. Next thing I wanted to try, this was just sort of a random idea. In my two dense layer thing, I chose a size of 32 to start with, just because I don't know. I had a reason. I actually no, it was that I didn't want to go from like 64 straight down to 10. But I decided, what if we make it 64? And that didn't really make much of a difference, all within that. Let's see.
Closing remarks.
Closing remarks. Last thing it is, I tried combining both strategies. That didn't really, we just got the same results as com2d essentially, or the double. Well, actually, yeah, no, just the com2d. So, but yeah, closing remarks. I tried varying optimizer, sample, data samples, amount per class, and structure, and found that increasing the number of convolutional layers before pooling gave us the best results.
Ethan?
I guess any questions or anything?
Yeah.
Zane, I don't think he heard you.
Okay. Were you able to get like multiple runs on TensorBoard because you're using different notebooks?
So the way I did multiple runs is, so I'll go to my logs folder real quick.
Yeah, because in PyCharm it overwrites the existing one.
I know it does. So for each project, I made a subfolder. So this one's HW1 assignment 0 at HW0. And inside here, I have further subfolders for each run. And the way I did that was I added this here. Oh, the reason there's a \t is because it thinks there's a tab. So that's why I have to like escape the tab, which is really stupid. But basically I would do that, and then I would point TensorBoard to just the first part. So then it lets me view all of these separate runs.
I think the best solution to this is probably, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was you, Chu, who put .format at the end of their TensorBoard. Who was that?
I think I saw a few people do that, and they used like time or something to do that.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that's probably the best solution. Basically, you add a timestamp. So every time you run one, it doesn't even have to be a timestamp. I mean, you can just add an additional parameter with your hyperparameters, like, you know, experiment 1 or any string you want. You can just add that string to the name.
Yeah, probably would have been a bit easier than like typing it in here. But
well, I want to say this. You know, there's some things in here that, you know, like, for example, we talked this morning about the list comprehension, the dictionary comprehension, you know, and I saw the way you did it, and I'm totally okay with that, because let me tell you this, not once ever will Dr. Schall say, let me see your code. I want to see what it looks like. What he will say is, I want to see your results. right?
Okay, cool. Because I'm assuming the runtime of that function is really bad.
Nobody's ever going to care about that. So
That
here's
makes
the
me
thing.
so
And
happy.
this is actually like a drawback for, people like me that don't have a traditional computer science background, because in our computer vision research, nobody cares about really like, is this function more efficient than the other one? Unless we're talking about days of time different, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise nobody cares. So like, for example, everybody see how he has class indices and then he has a dictionary and it's defined in that way, right? And next time he goes to write his code, he'll say, hey, I remember, Robert did that that dictionary comprehension. I can probably do it that way. This is fine. It's down and dirty. You've got code running. And I'm going to tell you right now, Dr. Shaw is going to respect the fact that you were able to do several different experiments and you were able to compare that kind of stuff. That's the most important thing. Okay.
All right.
So that's good. All right. Well, let me do one thing before we leave here.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ethan.
So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, please. Okay. So on the GitHub page, who has already gone through this step here? UCF VPN installation.
Is that the Cisco AnyConnect thing?
It is, yes.
I might have to
I've
use
gone
my
through
other
it.
laptop for this.
Oh, you know what? On this computer, I don't have it.
All right, so here's what I'm going to ask. So this afternoon, let me see here.
Yeah, I had to use that for CS1, and then I've got a feeling I'm gonna have to use my other laptop to bring things over because I tried it on here, and nothing gets routed through the VPN, so it's like it's not even running.
Well, here's one thing. Here's a fun fact about the UCF VPN. The UCF VPN only routes UCF traffic. So for example, if you're running the VPN, a standard VPN would route all of your traffic through the VPN, right?
Yeah.
However, the UCF VPN does not do that. It does not route all of your traffic. It only routes UCF traffic.
Right, that's my point though, because what we had to do was connect to a Linux test server for CS1, and it would refuse all connections other than ones coming from the VPN or on campus.
I see.
And it wouldn't let me connect. I think I got through once, but then it froze on this machine. But on the other machine, it works fine. So
okay. So this afternoon here you can see Newton GPU tutorial. Okay. Jamie is going to come over, quote unquote, from Newton and give us a tutorial on how to connect to the server. Okay. Now he's from Newton and he's going to come and he's going to give us a walkthrough. Then tomorrow morning, Brandon Silva is going to come, who was a part of the REU, not last year, but the year before. And then I asked him to join our team to teach this Linux tutorial. He does a very good job. It's very in depth. So this is going to be part 1, and then he's going to come back in the part 2. Basically, he comes in to do this tutorial to fill in any gaps that you may have from the Newton GPU tutorial. Okay. Sometimes these guys, now Jamie's good, okay, but sometimes we'll have people come over that just kind of give a high-level presentation about how to connect the GPU cluster, right? Some of you don't need that. Some of you need a very in-depth explanation of how it all works. So Brandon's going to come and he's going to clean up any hangups that you may have. Now, in order to do this stuff, you have to have the UCF VPN installed. Okay, where was I? I swore I had that up. Oh, here it is. UCF. Yeah. So what I want you to do, where should I put this? I'll put it in assignments. I mean, it's basically an assignment.
I guess I'll ask, how are we connecting? Are we using a MOBA Xterm or something else?
Jamie will recommend that you use MOBA Xterm. Okay. You can use the Anaconda prompt. Mac users, you can just use the terminal. Hey, Mac users, that's what I'm using. So that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Right. But anyways, the point is that you have to go through this before this afternoon. So starting now on lunch break, just start going through this. Okay. If you have any problems, drop it in general. Everybody else try to help out solving these problems. I've done my best to be incredibly explicit about this process. Okay, so go through that, and then okay. So do that, and then I will plan on seeing you back. I'm gonna try to give you extra couple minutes on lunch so you can do that. And then I'll plan on seeing you back at 2 o'clock for the PyTorch, starting PyTorch, okay?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
See you then.
Okay, guys, see you in a bit.
All right, see ya.